Hey guys, Inferno here, jumping into a game of Endzone, A World Apart. This game is on Steam, came out on the 19th of March 2021. Developed by Gently Mad Studios and published by Assemble Entertainment and Whisper Games. Endzone is a post-apocalyptic survival city builder where you start a new civilization with a group of people after a global nuclear disaster. Build them a new home and ensure their survival in a shattered world threatened by constant radiation, toxic rain, sandstorms and droughts. Looks pretty cool. Build a settlement, gather and refine many different resources. Send expeditions to forgotten places, experience a living settlement and fulfill side missions to cater to your settlers' needs. A variety of challenging scenarios with specific winning conditions and a distinct storyline. Looks very good. I hope it's not as difficult as Frostpunk and those types of games. We shall see, shall we? Review and preview, what is that all about? Oh. So the early access roadmap has been completed. Let's see the whole thing. A bit weird. Oh, hang on. Dear fellow survivors, some time has passed since Endzone, A World Apart started at the early access. It has been an incredible journey and we are just awestruck by our great community and the rich feedback we got from you all. We think that our game has matured tremendously over the whole development and especially since the start of its early access period. Development has been driven and influenced by what you have had to say and wished for, which often matched our own vision but sometimes gave us a completely new perspective on what to prioritise on. It is hard for us to let go and we think that you might share this feeling with us, so we'd like to let you know what happened to Endzone and what you can expect from us during 2021. The release build includes a big release update with brand new gameplay features targeted especially at the late game. We'll further support the game with bugs and fixes and quality of life improvements. We know that you'll want to give us feedback, especially on the newly introduced features, and we'll still be all eyes and ears about that. In the following months, there won't be big new feature updates as there were during early access. You can see those back here. We had expeditions, scenarios, technology. I work back, that was April 2020 when early access started. We'll also start working on a classical add-on which is targeted to also come out in 2021. We already have some great ideas for that, but as always, we'd love your ideas and feedback of what you would like to see. We'd love to hear your thoughts on all this stuff and are looking into a bright future for Endzone, together with you survivors. Stay healthy, your teams from Gently Mad and Assemble. Ooh. Let's have a look. Alright, definitely want to do a tutorial. Play either an interrelated tutorial that teaches you all the important aspects of the game or become familiar with certain parts of the game in brief segments. Survival mode. In survival mode you can configure your game according to your own needs. There are no predefined conditions to win, create a huge settlement or fight against a challenging environment. Anything's possible as long as you survive. In the scenarios, choose from a variety of challenging scenarios that specify different goals. Definitely go to the tutorial. Alright, main tutorial, a longer interrelated tutorial that includes all important aspects of the game. Follow Arthur Sorshin's instructions and obtain important clues and use information to survive in the merciless world of Endzone, A World Apart. Achievements can be unlocked to relate to Let's do it. I'm not the best city, town builder or survival game player, but you can only try.
We finally left the Endzone. Just look at this beautiful scenery. It's marvelous, even though it's a bit different from what we had pictured. We were able to secure a few basic resources and are storing them in our bus.
Yeah, let's build ourselves a new home.
I'm glad we prepared ourselves well for this kind of scenario, especially since our inventories in the Endzone ran low. Don't forget that if you need additional information, you can look at our survival guide at any time.
Let's do it. Tasks can be assigned freely available settlers to gather specific resources or remove radiation in a certain area. Only settlers who do not carry out any activity will perform such tasks. The only exception to this is the task to remove radiation. Up to 4 settlers can work on a single task. Gather wood. Settlers begin gathering wood from trees located within an active area. Gather scrap. Begin by collecting scrap from scrap piles located in the active working area. However, they cannot collect any scrap from large ruins. To have them do this, they must be assigned as scrap collectors. You can gather plants, gather everything. And then remove radiation. Settlers begin to remove radiation pollution by digging up the soil. Unlike other tasks, here you don't need any freely available settlers. All settlers who have nothing to do at the moment, even those who have a workplace, will help dig.
Well done. Everything you need to know should be right here. I think the time has come for us to at last build ourselves a new home here.
Okay.
Before we can construct buildings at all, we have to assign the profession builder to several settlers so that they can take care of construction contracts. In general, it's your responsibility to decide which tasks are important and how our settlers are supposed to be distributed to attend to them.
Okay. Open the profession menu and assign settlers to the profession builder. Alright, so our builder, we want 1, 2, 3.
All right. Your builders will be ready as soon as construction contracts have been issued. It's time to start focusing on our key and most basic need, water.
Got it.
The first thing we ought to do is to establish a working water supply. So we'll move on to our first construction contract. Place and build a jetty by a lake in the vicinity of your town center.
Understood. Alright, so we got to build jetty and we will put it, how do you rotate? That's the camera. Oh, no, that just seems weird. This is a lake. Oh. Alright, let's go there then. So are we going to have people... Was that a lake? That was a lake. Let's cancel that. That doesn't seem... Let's cancel. How do we cancel? Cancel construction. Jetty. How do I rotate it? Oh, duh. What the heck? Because that's the camera that's rotating. Ah, there we go. Alright, that's better. There we go. Now they're really close. Are they? We got 3. Oh yeah, they're going to go to the bus first. And then... Oh, they're going to take stuff there. Righto. Is there a game speed? Yes. Faster. Fastest. Get in there first.
Very good. The jetty was completed as planned. Now we have a place where we can collect water. There are other possibilities to gather water too, but the jetty is the simplest and most cost-effective method.
Okay, great.
We can obtain and store water from different sources, like a jetty, rain collector, or well in the cistern. The cistern should always be in close proximity to a water source, so that our water carriers don't have to walk too far.
That's a good point. Let's do it. Alright, so we've got a cistern, and we're going to put it near the base, not too far from the water source. I assume we want it to cover the base too, but let's go here. Oh, hang on. Assign workers to the water carrier. There we go. That's pretty cool. Right, so they're collecting water.
Great. We have now installed a working water supply, and water is now transported from the jetty to our cistern. Consider hiring more water carriers if you don't have enough settlers available. You can never have enough water in storage.
Okay, so... Oh yeah, water is there. Production limit of 90,000, wow.
Now we should focus on food production. It's important to ensure the supply right from the start. A gatherer's cabin, a hunting lodge, or a fishing hut can directly remedy the situation. I suggest starting with a fishing hut, since we're already located near a lake.
Fair enough. Okay, so we want it on the land, I assume. And then we've got to assign workers to the fishing. Oh. Fishing hut bill, assign settlers to the profession at fishing. And food produced with rewards is 300 fish, so we'll pass that. So cool.
Good work. We've now taken care of our basic supply via food and water. Make sure that you have enough food and water on hand at all times, especially if you want to upgrade your settlement. A population that grows too fast can quickly unbalance your food and water supply, bringing major difficulties for you if you don't watch out.
Okay.
Crops are another excellent way of getting food because they constantly grow as long as the soil is moist enough. Each seed has different yields and growing times. This means that it could take some time until your field is ready to be harvested, in contrast to your fishing hut, where production can be right away.
Okay. Cultivated field. Let's go. We want to make one thing. Has to be big enough. 6x6. Okay, and we need a profession. We need a farmer. We need to choose seed. Yeah, let's do cabbage, I guess. Growing time 1.9 seasons, 2.8. Okay, so we'll just do cabbage, gets quicker. Maximum yields 144 food. Okay. Okay, open the view for environmental irrigation.
Looks good. Remember that we need the widest variety of food sources to stay healthy. You should also plan ahead for drought periods that might come when it's not going to rain. Stock up on food and adapt your production to avoid bottlenecks. I'll show you a few more strategies later on.
Okay, thank you.
At the beginning, we don't have much scrap, wood, or other resources. We could build a production building, but to obtain resources as fast as possible, it's best that we start gathering right away. Assign a Gather All Resources task. All the settlers who haven't been assigned any profession by you are going to accept these kinds of tasks. In addition, settlers distribute resources within your settlement.
Okay, good. Alright, place a gather wood task. Oh, tasks. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, gather wood task. Let's put a guess there. Yeah, or here. Okay, let's send the environment. Okay, and then gather scrap. Three settler available, 2 of 3. Scrap produced, wood produced. Okay, so those going. Got the scrap ready and getting the wood.
Since we now own plenty of resources, we can start to build a real production building. Then you don't have to always make efforts by hand that collecting is taking place. Production buildings are not only easier to manage, they are also distinctly more effective than simple tasks. Don't place production buildings too far away from your settlement. You'll be able to change their working area at any time later on. Right on. The best thing for us to do now is to build a forester's lodge to automate our supply of wood and make it more effective at the same time. Foresters are not only able to chop down trees, they reforest areas with trees as well.
Alright, so we've got the forester's lodge. Right there. Assign settlers to the professional forester. Okay, let's speed that up again.
Good job. You might want to change this building's working area later on to tell your workers where they should get their wood from. Ah, and for your information, if you want, you can also tell your forester's lodge that they only ought to attend to reforesting an area in order to create a lush, green forest which generations to come can use. Very good. Now we ought to take care of collecting scrap. Scrap is one of the most valuable resources because the quantities present are limited, and we can recover other resources from scrap. Unlike the task we just had, the scrap yard allows larger quantities of existing scrap to be dismantled than with ruins or wrecks.
Okay, so we need to build a scrap yard, and we might put that just there. Assign a settler to the scrap collector. Okay, get this built. Oncoming drought. Stockpile water and food in order to survive. The soil is going to become infertile.
Great. You can change the working area for the scrapyard, too. We can recycle scrap into 4 additional resources: cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics. We'll do that shortly, but for now, we ought to take care of your settlers' needs first.
Okay.
Our people want a place to sleep and live. Cabins fulfill their need for safety and privacy and increase the confidence of their inhabitants. In other words, building cabins increases their willingness to start families and reproduce, if you know what I mean.
Let's do it. Okay, so we need 8 cabins. Woo. Now hold down shift. Location attractiveness. Oh, here we go. Let's go 1, 2, 4. 7. Pretty cool. There's a couple of different models, but they don't all, it's all random about which ones they choose, which is cool. Oncoming droughts, stockpile of water and food in order to survive. The soil is going to become perfect. Okay.
Besides cabins, you can also provide sturdy houses and shelters as housing. Sturdy houses withstand sandstorms better and have an increased storage capacity to boot. Children living in houses gradually fill up the house's stockpiles. Settlers do not reproduce in a shelter because they lack privacy. Let's return from our excursion into housing and refocus on scrap. With the help of a recycler or refinery, scrap can be sorted into 4 different resources. A recycler always takes scrap apart, one resource at a time, while a refinery automatically produces all 4 resources. To start off, you should build a recycler and produce cloth.
Okay, let's do a recycler. And we will put okay. Assign settlers to the professional refiner. And we want cloth. How do we make, oh yeah, cloth there. Oh, wow.
You can instruct your recycler to produce a different resource at a time. It's important that you focus on the resources you really need, at least in the beginning. Cloth and metal look like good options if you want to equip us with protective clothing and tools. Happy settlers are industrious settlers. That's why we ought to look after our people and protect them against the surroundings and dangers, like radiation. So let's start by transforming our newly recovered cloth into protective clothing. A tailor will be able to help us with that.
Okay, so we'll build a tailor's shop. Just here. Assign a settler to the tailor profession. And we will produce, once that's built, neck scarves, okay.
We categorize environmental radiation into 4 levels: no radiation, low level, medium level, and high level radiation. The radiation changes constantly and is influenced by weather and contaminated rain. Protective clothing helps to protect us against this kind of radiation, but it takes a while before it's produced. And production relies on a steady flow of incoming resources. Try to establish production chains at an early stage and start to stockpile goods so that some are always on hand.
Okay.
The tools we brought along from the Endzone are slowly but surely running out. So now, let's focus on manufacturing new tools. The tools will help us to work effectively. We'll need metal for that, so we'll prepare for production by building another recycler, which we'll commission to recover metal from scrap. After that, we'll need a workshop to enable the manufacturing of brand new tools.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to build another recycler. And we'll put that just there. We're going to have another settler as a recycler. Refiner. Construct a recycler to produce metal. Let's get this one to be metal. We need to build a workshop, which we will put just and then we need a profession, I need a technician. Got the workshop to produce a metal tool. And produce 2 of them. Oh no. How's this going? That's out of... No, it's still going. Or is that outside the realm of that? Is that full? Oh, that's full. Oh. Okay, so we need 2 middle tools.
With our lovely new tools, we are now prepared to work effectively. Should you ever run out of metal, keep in mind that you can also instruct your workshop to manufacture tools from scrap instead of metal. Though they won't be quite as effective, it's still better than being forced to work with bare hands.
Okay.
Down in the Endzone, we had sufficient time and resources to educate ourselves properly. But our children don't have this luxury. We ought to build a school and pass on what we've learned. As a result, they will be able to survive and work better and more effectively.
So we want to build a school. Let's put that near the... Wow, that's huge. Near the housing, shall we? So, assign a settler to a T. Beautiful. Alright, have it going here.
Perfect. Besides the fact that educated children work more effectively, we'll also teach them to be more careful with their protective clothing and tools. This, in turn, leads to them staying intact longer, and we conserve valuable resources.
Got it.
Now that our population is starting to grow, we ought to again turn our attention to the topic of food production. We are already accumulating fish and tilling our fields. A gatherer's cabin will now enable us to gather mushrooms and berries.
Okay, so we need a gatherer's cabin. And let's go near the housing. Go there. So we need 2 gatherers. I'll move. Move a building? No, I have to demolish it. Damn. Alright.
Very good. As you can see, the gatherer's cabin is an effective possibility to get food quickly. But watch out. After a drought, it's going to take some time before the plants have regrown. As is the case with most buildings, here too, you can relocate the working area at any time.
That's cool.
Although we are sufficiently supplied at the moment, our survival depends on diligent planning. If we can lay out a plan for an orchard, then we can start to plant fruit or nut trees that we can harvest after a few seasons.
Okay. So we want to build an orchard. And then we want to have another farmer. Seeds. I guess we can only do plums, eh? Yep. Tree seed.
The orchard has been laid out, and the trees are already beginning to grow. Similar to crops for farming, trees need some time until they are fully grown. But once they have grown, they can be harvested again and again until they have to be newly planted.